Dads, when did you realize your kid was funnier than you? I was driving my 12-year-old daughter Emma to soccer practice when my phone rang through the car speakers. It was her principal, Mrs. Rodriguez, asking if I could come in immediately for an emergency meeting about Emma's behavior in health class. So I'm sitting in the principal's office 20 minutes later, expecting something serious. Mrs. Rodriguez has this grave expression and says, "Your daughter caused quite a disruption during our unit on puberty and adolescent development." I glance at Emma. She's sitting there looking completely innocent, but I can see that little smirk she gets when she knows she's been clever. Mrs. Rodriguez continues, "Our health teacher, Ms. Patterson, was explaining how teenagers often experience mood swings due to hormonal changes. When she asked if anyone had questions, your daughter raised her hand." I'm already bracing myself. Emma's always been quick with comments, but this sounded different. Emma asked, "Is that why you and Mr. Johnson from the gym class have been acting so weird around each other? Because you're both teenagers inside?" I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. Apparently, the whole class started giggling because everyone had noticed the obvious flirting between the two teachers. But Mrs. Rodriguez wasn't finished. Then, Emma offered to help Miss Patterson understand teenage behavior by giving her dating advice, since, quote, "My dad's been single for 3 years and I've learned what not to do by watching him." At this point, I'm trying really hard not to crack up in front of the principal. I should have been mortified, right? Should have given her a lecture about respect and appropriate classroom behavior. Instead, I turned to Emma and asked, "Did you really say that?" She just shrugged and said, "I was trying to be helpful. Miss Patterson seems confused about a lot of things." Mrs. Rodriguez looked annoyed but continued. The situation escalated when Miss Patterson tried to redirect the conversation back to the lesson. Emma then asked if the school had a dating policy for teachers because she'd noticed Mr. Johnson always finds excuses to visit during health class, and wouldn't it be more educational to study real-life examples of adolescent behavior in adults? The whole class apparently lost it at that point. Even I was impressed by her logic. That evening, I tried to have a serious dad talk with her over dinner. I started explaining why what she said was inappropriate, even if it was observant. Halfway through my speech, Emma looks at me and says, "Dad, you know Miss Patterson asked me to stay after class, right?" I paused, not sure where this was going. "She wanted to know if you were dating anyone, and when I said no, she asked if you'd be interested in chaperoning the upcoming dance with her." I nearly choked on my spaghetti. "She what?" Emma grinned. "I told her your chances of saying yes were about the same as her chances of hiding her crush on Mr. Johnson, which is basically zero, because you're both really obvious about these things." That's when it hit me. My daughter hadn't just been making jokes in class. She'd been playing matchmaker while simultaneously roasting two adults' terrible flirting skills. "Dad," she continued, "Miss Patterson said she'd never had a student give her such accurate relationship advice. Apparently, Mr. Johnson asked her out right after school today." I stared at her, speechless. "You orchestrated this entire thing?" She just smiled and said, "Sometimes adults need help seeing what's right in front of them, like how you and Miss Patterson would actually be perfect together if you weren't both scared of dating." 2 weeks later, I'm sitting across from Miss Patterson at a coffee shop, and she's telling me how impressed she was with Emma's maturity and insight. "Your daughter has better social intelligence than most adults I know," she said. "She basically gave me the confidence to stop overthinking everything." Emma was right, of course. Miss Patterson and I had been making eye contact at school events for months, but neither of us had the courage to do anything about it. My 12-year-old daughter had to publicly embarrass us both before we'd admit there was something there. The best part? When I told Emma about our second date, she just nodded and said, "Finally, I was getting tired of watching you practice conversation starters in the bathroom mirror every morning." I didn't even know she'd noticed that. Last night, Emma asked if she could be the maid of honor when Miss Patterson and I get married. When I said we'd only been dating for 3 weeks, she replied, "Dad, I've been planning this since the first parent-teacher conference. Your wedding playlist is already saved on my Spotify." That's when I realized I'm definitely not the smartest one in this family anymore. My daughter's been running my love life better than I ever could, and honestly, I'm not even